Hey everyone, it's Julie from Julie's Craft Cave, and today I am going to record the tutorial for the angel wing wreath. So we're going to be talking about how to put that together. I'm using these are the supplies that you're going to need. I'm using a Dollar Tree frame, a heart frame from the Dollar Tree. You can also get, I haven't tried it yet, but you can also get the heart frames from Hobby Lobby. They're a little bit more sturdy. I just don't know how flexible they are as far as bending them out for the wings. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. And this actually is a design that was shared in a couple of my wreath groups by a lady named Tammy Stoner. So she has some pretty cool looking ones out there. So this design is based on her original design that she shared in those groups. But you're going to need a Dollar Tree heart frame. These are $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. You can, like I said, also get them at Hobby Lobby if you can't find them. I do believe you can order these online at the Dollar Tree. So if you don't have any, I think a minimum is 4. You can find them on Etsy. You can find these all over the place. People buy them and resell them on Etsy all the time. So if you're having a hard time finding one, just maybe do a search for one on there. So you're also going to need floral wire, something to create your hanger so that your customer or yourself can hang it. And I get this on Amazon. It's pretty thin. It's wrapped with paper, and I just use that to attach for a hanger on the wreath. The other thing that you're going to need is some of these little, these are hair rubber bands for little girls. You can get them at the Dollar Tree too. You can also get them at Walmart. We're going to need our zip ties. I use 4-inch zip ties. You can use whatever color, whatever, length works best for you. I just find these work easiest for me. And you're going to need some electrical tape. You're going to need your deco mesh. We're again using, yesterday I made a cross wreath tutorial, and this is also the, it's white iridescent deco mesh, 10-inch width. And you get that on a, it comes on a roll, a 10-inch roll like this. Let me go see if I have one I can show you. So it looks just like this, the original roll of deco mesh. You're going to need one roll. It takes one roll to do this because you're going to need 36 of the pieces to attach for the angel wings. And we're going to talk about how we fold them here in just a second. And I think that's about it. So our frame, our floral wire for a hanger, zip ties, the little rubber bands, electrical tape. You're going to need your 10-inch deco mesh, and I think that's about it. The tools that you're going to need for this are, you don't necessarily need these if you have enough strength in your hands. You'll see what I'm talking about, pulling the zip ties, and wire cutters. Let me get some of these out of the way here. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is your frame needs to be cut so that we can spread it a little bit for it to be like angel wings. So down here, this little, you can see where it attaches here to the frame. We're just going to take our wire cutters and cut this piece out as close, not too close because you don't want it to come unattached from the bar there, just so we can loosen it up like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can see I'm just cutting it close but not too close. then you get these 3 pieces that come off here. And you can just throw those away because we're not going to be using them. And this is going to allow you to bend this out to shape your wings. So I don't push too hard. Just gently do this because you don't want your frame coming apart. But it's going to allow us to have an angel wing shape. And now these can be super sharp down here. So just so you don't hurt yourself and your customer doesn't hurt themselves, we just want to make sure that they are not too sharp and going to be cutting someone. So I just cut my electrical tape just in enough width here to put across the bar. You know, this doesn't have to be perfect, but you also don't want it to be look too bad. Just gonna bring this around, and just attach it just like that, just to cover up the end a little bit, just so those sharp ends are not sticking out. So you give yourself just a little bit of added protection there. So it's the same thing over here. Just pinch it around. And this is going to be behind the wreath, so you're not even really going to see it. I think you could probably hot glue the ends or use epoxy or something too. So however you decide to cover that up, it's just a good idea to not have those sharp pieces sticking out. So you need to cut your deco mesh into 10-inch pieces, 10 by 10. And you can do that with a wood burner, or you can do that with scissors or a rotary cutter. I suggest the wood burner because it makes these edges nice and even, and you don't have all the little plastic pieces sticking out. And you're going to need 36 of those because we're going to put 18 on each side to create the wings. Pick some stuff up here, get some things out of the way. I'm still new at this tutorial thing, so trying to make it easy where you guys can see stuff. I haven't went live yet because I have a Mevo, and for some reason they are not working with Facebook to allow live access through anything other than, like, you have to connect through your computer through a website, and it's just kind of a pain. So I'm just recording the videos and posting them to YouTube. So with the 36 pieces of deco mesh, I'm going to show you how we're going to fold those for the angel wings. And we're going to basically do the same thing that we do for the cross wreath. We're going to fold it in half, bring our corners together, and then we're going to scrunch it in the middle to the corner and then pull it back, and they look just like angel wings. So this piece of deco mesh now looks like a angel wing, and this is where these little rubber bands come in handy, because we're going to make all of these before we attach them to the frame. So you're just going to wrap a rubber band around the end of this, and then to create the look for the wings, we're going to fold this in half together like that. Okay, so let's do that one more time. And when you do this, you just want to make sure, come back, that this is down far enough on here that your deco mesh piece is not separating like that. So if you bring your rubber band down, it'll hold them together like that. So let's do a couple more pieces just to make sure you guys understand how to do that. So you're going to hold it like this with the curl side up. And you're going to fold it in half and bring your corners together right here. And then we're going to scrunch this to that little corner there. Bring the ends together up here. And then we're going to make sure you go down far enough with your rubber band so that when we fold this in half, basically what you're doing is you're taking it from this and then you're just folding it in half like this. So the two pieces set together like this. Not really sure what to call that, but it's like angel wings, but folded in half. We'll do 2 more of these just so you guys can get the hang of it. You can also always slow the video down or rewind if you have to. Fold it in half. I'm going to scrunch it together. I just like to put this finger in here in the middle and pinch it together here. And then I take my little rubber band, wrap it around twice. If you set it back down on your workbench or table or whatever you're working on, you can play around with this a little bit. Make sure your rubber band is down far enough. Then we're just going to take it and fold it. Just like that. Okay, 1 more and then we will start making our wreath. So again, bring your tips here. Pinch it together. These little rubber bands like to stick together, so usually I will have them separated and ready when I'm making the wreath. So that's just a good tip there. So we've got our wing, got our rubber band, and we're just gonna fold it in like that. You may have to play around at the top here just to get this mesh so it lays flat. Okay, so now we have all 36 of those prepared. I did a bunch of them before I started filming so we could be ready. All right, now we have our frame, and what we're going to do is put 18 here and 18 here. And when you're putting these on, you're going to want to have your cut pieces, like your fold, on the inside. On each side, they're going to be like mirroring each other. So I always work both sides at the same time and then work my way up to the top. And I'll show you placement and where you need to put these. And of course, that's where our zip ties come in, because we're going to put our first one right here at the bottom. Just on this crossbar right here on each side. And you can play around with this and position these before you tighten it, because you don't want this to be in here or out here. You kind of want it pointing down, and then you can tighten it up. So then the next one, we're going to mirror the sides here. We're going to put right here, and you can start your zip ties before you add your pieces, and then all you have to do is just tuck your zip tie up in there, tuck your piece up into the zip tie, and you're just coming down to where the rubber band is at. So then again, we just want to look and see here. Remember, we're mirroring these pieces. One on each side. They're just coming down here like angel wings. And I like to cut the zip ties as I'm going, because turn my fan on, it's quite warm. Because once you lay the other ones over top of that, they're going to cover up that zip tie, so it's going to be harder to cut them and keep the shape. So our next one is going to go right above here, above those other two. So we'll get our zip ties ready. And then again, we're going to make sure that our cut side's in. And you're only going to go probably about 2 inches above the one below it on that same wire on the frame. And we'll tighten this down. And we're going to go the other side. And when you're doing the sides together like this instead of one and then the other, what it allows you to do is just to keep that mirrored look. And as you tighten these down, it holds them down. To create what we want to come down around here, like the wings. Okay. Again, we're going to cut these off. Now, if you get these on here and you're not happy with it, when you tighten them, you can slide them up and down. So you can slide them to wherever you prefer to have them on the frame. Okay. Now we're going to put one on the outside wire and one on the very inside wire. So one is going to go here. And one is going to go here. On the outside and the inside. So we're going to take our piece, and remember keeping your cut side in. We're going to tuck it up in here. This is not how I normally do these, so I'll show you here in just a second. I'm just putting these on just to show you guys where they are located. But I'm going to start attaching them the way that I normally do. Oh, see, there we go. I've already put one in the wrong way. Cut side facing in to the inside of the wings. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that, making sure that they're laying the right way. Okay. So we've got our two over here, and now we need to repeat that over here. Normally I just lay my zip tie here like this. Look at how I want to lay this. Now remember, we started on the outside and inside, and then we're just going to attach our zip tie. And then I'm going to get this one out here. And you can see what's happening as we add these pieces. They're covering the mechanics from the ones before to create your wings. You want to make sure you get your zip ties nice and tight because you don't want your pieces falling off. Okay, so it don't look like much now, but we've got this side here, this side here, and this side. So they've kind of started to take shape. You can see there. As you go, you can adjust them to make them look the way that you want them to. And we're just cutting our zip ties off again. Okay. All right, so now we are going to attach one right here on these crossbars. Making sure our cut side goes in. And you can see it's covering up here, starting to create that look for the wings. The original design, I kind of tweaked it just a little bit. She cuts up here, and I tried that, and I didn't like it because I felt like it just made the frame very vulnerable, like it wasn't sturdy. I felt like the frame was going to fall apart if I sent it to a customer. And as you're putting these on, if you have to, you can see how I'm just kind of pulling these apart a little bit so they're not laying on top of each other, so you get more what looks like feathers coming down. Okay, so see, our wings are starting to take shape, and now we're going to cut these off. And then the next one that we are going to put on, you can see, let me just flip it over to the back. Now you can see where we've put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 of them on there. This next one we're going to put on the crossbar, and it's going to go right on the inside here. You can see this crossbar here. It's going to go right there. I'm just going to lay our petal in there. Sorry if you guys can't see this. And we're going to attach. Okay. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Remember to have your cut side in. Lay it right in your zip tie. And we've got another piece on. Okay. Now we're going to be moving up above the bar, and we're going to just go 1, 2, 3 across. I like to do my 2 outer ones first and then put the one up here, just because we're just trying to cover up mechanics. So I do the outside and inside first, and then I add this middle one on the wire there. So we're going to attach the outside. just tightening these down. So we've got the outside and the inside one on. And now we're going to do the center one. So here you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feathers going right straight across like this because we put them that way, just to kind of shape our wing here. And we're going to repeat that process on the other side. Again, we're mirroring our wings from one side to the other. So we are going to attach here, inside. We're going to do an outside. Tighten this one down. And we're going to do a center. So we've got the same thing going on over here. I just like to look and see where these are at. And if I have to position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see they're kind of taking shape. And the more that you put on above them, the better these will lay. And when you get done, you can kind of position them to where you want them. You have these little pieces here, like these little strings will pop out every once in a while. Just gently pull them out of there and you can just continue working. Okay, so now we're working up along the top, and we're going to go with one here on the outside and one here in the center. You can see how when we lay this down across here, it's filling in where the mechanics are before it. So you always have to start at the bottom first. And I found when I start to get up around here, being a little bit more picky about the placement, because you don't want them to all of a sudden be stuck on here and sticking out like this. So just make sure that when you're putting them on, you're being mindful about the way that they're laying. Okay, so we're just gonna put another one on the center here. This is a really great Memorial Day wreath. I've already sold these on Etsy, which is kind of fun. I just listed them and already have a sale. So you can see how I'm just playing around with these a little bit and just getting them 1, 2, 3, 4 so that they're laying kind of consecutive after each other. Like if you had them twisted like this, you just want to fix them and lay them so they're giving that feather look. we're going to repeat that process on the other side. One to the outside. Again, see how we are covering up the mechanics, placing this right on here. And pulling tight. Again, you just want to make sure that these are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that you have that feather look going on across the wings. I'm pushing this off the table where you guys can't see, so. All right, now we're going to put our center one in. You could use pipe cleaners to attach these to this, but I just have to say that if you do that, you might not be able to position them as accurately as you would like them to be if you were using zip ties. I just feel like the zip ties are going to give it a little bit more strength and stability. So you can see now we have our two sides going, and they're working their way in like angel wings. And each time we put more deco mesh on, it just pushes these down and creates that feathered look going in. All right, so we have put on, let's just flip this and look real quick. Our original one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we put 10 on each side, so we've got 8 more to go. So the next 2 are going to go, just trying to remember where we're at here. In the same position we just put these before. So we're going to put one up here. Above this one. And then we're going to put one up here right above that one. So we want to get our angel wings ready. You can play around with these before you put them on and just kind of lay them the way that you want them to before you get them on. Now make sure that when you start to put these on the top, you're covering your mechanics behind. So watch where your placement of your feathers are. You can tighten that down. So we've got this here. And we're going to put the one on in the center. And we're going to tighten down. Just check and make sure that they're laying correctly. Cut our zip ties and repeat that on the other side. and then the one in the center. It's starting to get quite warm here in Florida. It's gonna be another one of those summers. I know you guys up north are probably saying don't complain, but it gets so humid. That's why a lot of people only come for a few months in the winter and then head back north. We are officially Floridians. We have sold our house in New York, and the closing is tomorrow, so we're pretty excited about that. This is our 4th deal that we've had on the house, and we're just anxious to be done with it. It's a lot to worry about when you're not living there. My best friend, actually, she has been so wonderful and watches the house for us and has taken care of many things because we're so far away and can't do that. So I'm so thankful for her. These were kind of laying a little wonky, so I just wanted to play around with them for a bit. You could also, if you had to, if you didn't like the way they were laying and you wanted to fix that, if you had to, you could lift this up, put a little piece of hot glue under there and just push down on them just so they stay where you want them. So just a pro tip there, if you are having trouble with them laying the way you want to, just lift them up like this and take your glue gun, put a little piece of glue in there, and then just press down and hold. Don't put a lot of glue, just a little bit, and then it would stay where you wanted it to. Okay, so we have 12 pieces left, so we need to put 6 on this side and 6 on this side. So we are going to put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So remember, we're going to do our outside, and this, at this point in time, you're going to try to start angling these a little bit more horizontal than vertical, because we're starting to come in and we want our feathers to come around like this. So we always do our 2 outside, and our inside, and then our center. So you can see as I'm laying these down, I'm just making sure they're flowing with the other feathers. So we've got this one up here that's working to cover up the mechanics from before. And now we just want to put one in the center. I'm still struggling. I had that broken thumb a few weeks ago. For those of you that watched the cross tutorial, if you haven't seen that, you can go to my YouTube channel and pull that up. So we've got 1, 2, 3 up here. And then we're going to go with 3 more over here, and then we're going to repeat that process on the other side. So we're going to go, I like to, if I can, get it around these bars. You can see that there's like a connector bar right here. It just gives it a little more stability, and you can lay it exactly the way that you want to when you use those. And again, remember, cut side is going in. And attach that. And then we're going to play with this a little bit to cover our mechanics. And we are going to tighten this down. And we're going to go, I kind of have to angle this at this point because they're starting to come this way. It's a little bit easier. The last two on this side. So we're going to go outside, inside, and then center. And you can see as I'm laying this down here, I'm just, before I tighten the zip tie, just laying the feathers the way that I want them to be, and then tightening down the zip tie. So you can see I've got one, they're kind of not laying on top of each other, but I have them a little separated just to give us some more feathers. And then we've got one more on the center here. We'll get that started, get our zip tie started, and we'll take a look at it. And just lay it. You see, I have taken this like this, and I just hold it down like that, and then I'm just going to tighten up my zip tie. So now we have those three going across here with the feathers. So as you can see, now that we turn it this way, we have this side of our wings are complete. There's like a little piece of deco mesh here, a little piece of plastic, and I'm just gonna, instead of pull, because I've got them positioned the way I want, I'm just gonna trim that with a pair of scissors. Okay. So that's one side of your wings. So we're gonna repeat that process on the other side. Outside and inside. And then we're just going to play around with this a little bit to get this to lay right. And then pull our zip tie tight. We're going to go in here. I'll talk to you a little bit about positioning them from one side to the other when you lay these down. So because we're mirroring this, what you want to do is when you're laying this down on this side, your top petal wants to come forward when you're overlapping them like this. When they're on this side, you want your top petal to come forward the other way. So just make sure when you're laying them, if they look a little funky or wonky, just keep that in mind, that maybe instead of the top petal coming forward, this top feather, you've got this bottom feather, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. So if you were to bring this one forward instead of this one, that could make it look a little odd on the other side. So just bring your top feather forward just to give it that feather look. So we have 3 more, and then the wreath is almost complete. So we're gonna go, like I said before, the crossbars. I like to use the crossbars if I can. We're gonna go in here. Well, I think I've lost a couple of the feathers. Bear with me, everybody. I just gotta look. I think they fell behind my workstation. Nope, we're 2 feathers short. Okay, so we need to put 1 more here and 1 more here, but for some reason when I was cutting and counting, I cut myself short on 2 feathers. So we are going to get out the cutting board. And cut 2 pieces of deco mesh. It happens, it's no big deal. Have to wait just a second for my wood burner to heat up. It's this right here, so that we can cut this, and we'll talk about what we want to use for a ribbon on this. So you definitely, if it's going to be for Memorial Day, there's some different options. You could use this sheer white like we used on the cross yesterday. I also have really pretty purple. I think the purple would look amazing. I don't have a lot of that left, so I don't know if we'll get much of a bow out of that, but we can try. And I also have this purple I like a lot. Purple's like a color for you'll see this on a lot of grave sites. So get that lavender color. We could do this and this together would look amazing. So maybe we'll try that when we get done cutting this and get it all together. We'll make a bow. You'll see here, this is probably wasn't such a bad idea that I had to cut a couple of these, but you'll see the start of this where it's really jagged and there's pieces that are coming off. That's what's going to happen if you try to use a pair of scissors or a rotary cutter. So using the wood burner, it melts the plastic a little bit, and you can cut right down inside one of the lines and make it a perfect cut. So now you can see we went from this jagged cut here on the end to a nice clean cut with the wood burner. And that's going to prevent a lot of the fraying and stuff that you see on deco mesh wreaths. So we just need 2 pieces, and I always have this. This is just my 10-inch. We're cutting at 10 inches here. We only need 2 pieces. So there's 1. And too. So the great thing about these wreaths is that you can cut all this deco mesh. I have a laundry basket I put my stuff in, and you can take it out to the couch if you want to sit and watch a show, if you're binge watching something on Netflix or Prime. I know a lot of you guys love the different crime shows. If you're like me, you watch them. And we're just folding these and preparing them. Let's get our little rubber bands out again. Okay. And we're going to fold this in half. Okay, now we're back in business. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Alrighty, let's put this up. And we will get our wreath back. You can see this one right here wants to come behind the wire like that. So what I'm going to do to try to prevent that from happening is attach it one more time on the end there with a zip tie, just to kind of keep it in place so it's not flying all over while we put these other ones on. And once you put your bow or your flowers or whatever you want to on, you will be able to hold them down so they're not flying all over. Just going to start the zip tie and then set this down in here. Remember, we've already put our outside one on here, so we're putting our inside wire on. So pretty. You can see here, because we mirrored them, how you can see the wings are matching up on each side. You want it to do that. You don't want it to be too strange. We got one more, and then all of our feathers are on. This was the same one on the other side here that I had to attach with that extra zip tie just to kind of hold it in place. So if we have to do that over here, we can, but we're actually at a point now where we have all of the feathers on. And we are going to be adding a bow or flowers. So I'll just give you, you could do some pretty cool stuff with this. If you have some flowers, you can add flowers to them. I love the purple flowers. I like the, you can get the white Easter lilies are also a huge favorite of mine. So you can decide what you want to do with them and dress them up. Right now we're just going to put a bow on here. So you can see those are our wings. I'm going to set this aside and get our bow maker out. For our bow, we're going to need to attach it to the wings, so you need to have a piece of floral wire. I usually cut these about 20 inches long. And then I set this aside because we're going to use it later. Fold it in half so you know where your half is. nothing more annoying than when you get to the point with your bow that you are trying to put it on and you've only got a short piece of wire on one end and a long piece on the other, and you can't get it through there. So we're going to try to use this purple. I love this purple. And with most of my bows, I like to put my tails on first, because then they're to the back, and then I can add one more at the end coming down the center. So we've put this on for our tails. I don't cut these or do anything with them until I get them on the wreath, because I might want to cut them a little bit shorter than what I have them, but we have to remember we don't have a lot of this. And on the angel wings, the crosses, I usually go 5-inch loops. On the angel wings, I do a 4-inch. So I'm just going to put this in here. And again, because this is two-sided ribbon, you don't have to twist it, but you can if you want. So we've got a 4-inch loop. I'll come across here. I'm going to try to get 4 loops. We might not get our center tail, but we're just playing around here. Let's see. 2 loops. Hey, we might get 4, but we might not get our center tail, which is okay. Hey, we got 4 loops, guys. How exciting. This one's just a tad bit short, but nobody will even notice. And we didn't get our center, but that's okay, because we'll bring down some of this with that. So I just like to have the tail to the back. Bring that down and scrunch that. And now we will make 4 loops with the 1.5 inch, and then 2 smaller. So we'll go just a little bit shorter than the 4-inch. And again, this is, you don't have to twist this if you don't want to. It is double-sided. I like to twist it because it just gives it a little more fluff. Just try to make sure that your loops are nice and even. And you can be positioning this as you're making them. And then we're going to come down here. And I want to give it a couple smaller loops here in the center. And then we are going to cut this, so we have got these 3 are coming down in the center. So that's really pretty. It came out pretty. And we used up some ribbon we had. Love the purple. I actually got an order this morning for angel wings, and she wants purple ribbon, so it's probably worked out good, because then I can send her this and see if she approves, and I will mail these out. Oh goodness, okay. So I've just put the wire on the back when I lifted it off of the bow maker. I just put 2 fingers under here, lift up the bow, push down on my thumb, put the wire that we're going to be attaching to the back, and then I wrapped the zip tie around the entire thing. So before I tighten it up too tight, I like to play around with this and position the bows and make sure that they are the right length. This one's looking pretty good. Pull your tails down so they're not sticking up to the top. And I think that looks pretty good. So we are going to tighten the zip tie. we have it. Bring our angel wings back out. And now we want to attach this. Cut this piece of the zip tie off the back because we don't need that. Right in there. So pretty. So let's just, you've got your wire on the back that we're going to be attaching this with. So I just like to try to make sure it's not going to droop or do something crazy. So I want to get it, you can see we've got this deco mesh here and we've got deco mesh up here. I like to really try to get it into the deco mesh because it has, it will have more stability when we tie the bow on if we do that. Plus you want to get it into the top up here because you want to cover up your mechanics on the wreath. So I just turned it upside down and I'm going to play around a little bit here just trying to get it through this deco mesh at the top. So you can see right here I've just fed that wire through that top piece of deco mesh there. And then we'll take the other side over here and do the same thing. We're just going to take our wire and put it into the deco mesh and pull it through to the back. I mean, you can tighten it up, you don't have to get it too tight. And we're going to flip this around to the back here. Be careful not to pull your feathers too tight because you don't want them to come out on the sides over here. And we'll just twist that wire. I like to, when I get my wire twisted, create a loop here with this and then twist this loop kind of like a bread tie just to secure that, make sure that it's tight and it's not going to come off. And then I just cut this excess wire off here, being careful not to cut my wire. And then I just tuck that in. And just to be safe, just secure it a little bit. With a zip tie. Just to kind of keep it in place in case it's windy or something. Cut that zip tie. Okay, now we can flip it over and take a look. This is where you can position your tails and decide where you want to cut them. You don't want these hanging down too far because you don't want them taking away from the wings. So the dark purple shear underneath was pretty short to begin with, so we're not going to cut any more of that off, but you're just going to fold it in half like a taco. I need a better pair of scissors. You need really good scissors to cut sheer ribbon with, and you're going to cut from the fold down to the corner to create some dovetails. Okay. We'll just repeat that over here on the other side. Fold it in half and hold it. Cut it from the fold up to get the dovetails. And then we're gonna do the same thing with these pieces. I really like the length of them, and I like that this one comes down a little bit further, so we're gonna leave it just like that. And do the same thing here. Okay, so now we have our bow on, and then you can just play around with this and position it the way that you want it to be. And there we go. There's our angel wings. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below. This YouTube stuff is new to me, so I'm kind of excited about it. And again, like I said, if you don't like the position of any of these on here, you can just move them a little bit, play around with them. You can lift them up, put a little piece of glue under there and set them down. That will hold them in place. But other than that, I think it came out pretty well. All right, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.